Hey everybody, Scout Crafty here again. Welcome back to the show. It's Monday. We got a bit of a mosh going on today, but we're trying to do a short episode, trying to get it in under 12 minutes if we can. We're going to kind of push through it. We have a nice restoration coming up. But first off, I want to start off by mentioning it's our 250th anniversary here in the States, and I just found out today that they are issuing some coins to go with the celebration, our 250th celebration. So I didn't know that until today when I looked in my pocket and I found a dime that I thought was Canadian. You know, every once in a while we get a Canadian coin here, and it's kind of it sticks out like a sore thumb. But this one here, I said, and I look close. And let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here is the dime in question that I picked up today in my change, and it made me look real quick. I said, wait a minute, is that? I never see that's Lady Liberty on there. And you can see the date, 1776 to 2026, the date. And on the back here, you can see it has eagle. Can you see the eagle there? And United States, it's really an interesting coin, a lot on there for that dime, right? A lot of information on the back there for such a small coin. Let me know, have you seen any of the newer coins in circulation? I ordered the 50-cent piece that'll be coming in next week. I'll show you that when it gets here because I'm a big fan of the Statue of Liberty. We'll talk more about that when I get it. But what do you think about the new dime? The other one, now this is only for the, you know, for the couple of years that they're doing this, then it's going back to the regular design, which has been in circulation for 80 years. What do you think about that? Okay, next up, we have a wrench that I picked up. I think I got it from Pete at the last Long Island tool meet. And this wrench is a BEMIS and Call number 90. And these wrenches were pretty popular in the railroad industry. Because it was all metal. You didn't have to worry about a wood handle splitting and whatnot. But also the handle was shaped a way you could easily slip on a cheetah bar or a pipe over the handle, give you some extra leverage. It was a very popular wrench, and there was lots of them made. Some of them, they get big money for them, especially if they're stamped with a railroad insignia on the wrenches. But it's a good wrench, good solid wrench. This one here has a little couple issues. Let's get started with that right away. Okay, so here's today's project. You can see here, BEMIS and Call, Springfield, Massachusetts. Now, we have a couple issues with this wrench. First of all, it's in decent shape for the sense that the jaws aren't mangled. The jaws are nice, which is really good. The corners, but they were banging on the side here. And it's pretty deep, and it's a little difficult. I've been holding off on doing this. How much I want to keep original, how much I want to make nice, and the handle, that you could see the grind marks, that's from the factory. It's obvious they only took a couple seconds to do each wrench. That's why you have that flat spot on top there. You can see that how quickly they do it. But I'd like to take this wrench, make it, the threads are good. I'd like to make it as nice as I can do it. So first thing, let's take it apart. Now, there are only 3 pieces to this wrench. As you can see, we have the body assembly here, which has the top jaw in it. And again, look at the threads are pretty good. They're not mangled or anything. We have this nut is always really important because this is the one that does all the business of getting it up and down. And then we have the sliding jaw. And this is the one we're going to have issues with, right? Because look at that beading. You know, this is where they were. And it's look, when you're on the job, I don't blame anybody. You got to get the job done. You're going to use, what are you going to do? Go out to the truck for a hammer or just use the side of the wrench? That's what they do. It's meant to be used. So first thing, I'm going to take a tub of towels and wipe this down because there's a lot of grease on here, and I don't want to get that incorporated into the wire brush. Now this is wiped down. We just took this. This would all wind up in your wire wheel or your wire brush. So you're better off just getting as much grease as you can off the wrench. Now let's take it to the wire brush. Here is our post-wire brush evaluation. We still have to get inside here with the round wire brushes. Inside here, we didn't do that, just the outside. Let's take a look at what we got here. You could see the finish on the nut. You could see here, you know, you got kind of a raw casting thing. We could smooth that out, make it real nice. Here's where you can't really touch this, because if you do, you'll get introduce slop into the wrench. So you can't take any surface off here. That you do with the fiber wheel. We'll get that, but you're always going to have that forging mark, which is okay. Here you can see the tremendous amount of pitting. Can you see that there? Let me see if it's focused. I hope it is. You see the tremendous amount of pitting that's involved on that top. And over here, now, it's going to be tough because you want to keep the name, but, you know, over here, this is where you have to do your evaluation. We're going to have to bevel the whole outside, because if you use this as a hammer, you don't want to chip off, which happened here, it looks like. The handle here, you can see no surprises here. And then, again, this part here, this is the big one. That's the big one there. Again, remember, this steel back in the day wasn't that strong. It wasn't like the alloys they had later on. So when you banged it, it would make an impression on here. So what we're going to try and do is level this out. The jaw, these numbers on here that you'll see, they're manufacturing numbers that, so you knew which jaw went with what wrench. That's why you'll see here, like you see these numbers correspond with these numbers over here, G737. You see that? And if you look over here, G737. And that's so that they kept all the parts together with each wrench, because some of them needed slight tweaking. This wasn't done on a production line where they just stamped them out and everything fit everything. A lot of these old wrenches, they would, you know, give it a quick test and file a little bit and test and file until they got it smooth, and, you know, it was labor intensive. So we're going to have some lunch now, and then we'll come back, and we got to surface this off, you know, because, you know, we want to keep this number, but you'll see, little by little, we're getting there. Now this wrench is coming along very nicely. Now we're going to add some bluing just to break up the silver of the wrench. We're going to put some here and here. Let's get to that. Okay, now if you notice here, you can see here, this is not lubricated or anything, but you can see how nice and easily that spins. And there's no slop up and down. And you can see what we did here, how that looks. Okay, and the handle, remember the handle? Now the handle is all super, super smooth. If you felt this handle in your hand, it definitely feels really nice now, nice and smooth. And all we have to do now is try it out. What do you think about that? Let's give it a try and see how it works on it. Now you can see I did surface the jaws so that they're nice and smooth. Now, you got to remember that this is important. If the jaws aren't parallel, I always talk about that. A lot of these wrenches hang up or whatever. So what you have to do is you tighten it onto the nut here, and it should slide both on and off without binding. Okay, so just like that. If you can't do that on and off, and without it having excessive play on there, so just like that. So it works really well. It's a nice wrench. It's BEMIS & Cole, lovely wrenches, well made, but they never went the extra step with their fit and finish like Billings and Spencer did. When Billings took over the company, they did indeed keep the number 90, but just change it up a little bit. Now you know my favorite part. Remember what this Bemis and Cole number 90 looked like before we started. So in closing, there we go. Bemis and Cole F wrench. You can see where we did the bluing, so you have a balance between the dark and the chrome. You know, if you do the whole wrench in silver, it doesn't look original, but this one here looks like it could have came out of the factory just like this. What do you think about this? Okay, last up, Poor Man's Flea Market, where I go around picking up trash or seeing what trash people are throwing out. Last week, I saw in the trash a beautiful, what I think is beautiful, oil painting. Now, for some of you that have followed the show for a while, it's kind of an inside joke we have here, because for the past 3 years, I've found an oil painting that I gave to my sister at Christmas time, and she loved it. I found 3, and today another one. So I guess this will be a Christmas gift for her, so you'll get to see it first. Tell me what you think. Let's check it out. Okay, so here's the painting in question that I found. Now you can see here, this here is 3 foot wide by 2 feet high. It's obviously it's a winter scene somewhere, which is really interesting. And I just thought it's very nice. I liked it. I saw it. I only pick up, I see a lot of things thrown out, a lot of paintings that I don't like and don't pick them up. But this one I like, especially my sister. She's big on animals. And you can see here, we got some ducks, which she raises. We have some deer and rabbit. You can see over here. You can see up here we have different horses pulling sleighs. Snowman being built. There's a whole bunch of things that you could see in this painting if you just keep going. We have a nice cardinal sitting on the tree over there, looking back into the distance. You could see, you know, it's real nice, isn't it? I just thought so. I think she'll like it, you know. And of course the beautiful cold and reflecting light in the pond there on a snow scene. So what do you think about this? I know it's a little bit early and some of us are dying of the heat over here but it'll be upon us before you know it. So it'll be our secret until she gets it. Okay, you're not going to believe this. I was just going to bring this upstairs to store it and then all of a sudden I saw this. It says use only alkaline batteries, you see? And look over here. This thing lights up somehow. So of course I got to get some batteries. We got to check this out. Okay, will you look at that? It doesn't, the Christmas trees light up, the lanterns, and it looks like all the lights are working. The church lights up and the bridge. That's pretty cool, isn't it? They got little LED bulbs in the back there. That is pretty cool. Okay, so in closing, that was a little bit of a mosh. I hope you enjoyed it, and I think we got under 12 minutes. I can't really tell until I edit it. I hope you have a great start of your week. We will see you again on Wednesday. Take care now. Bye-bye.